Hey, what's up everyone? I hope you're all having a fantastic day. Now it's that time of the week again to do another Instagram Q&A where you can head over to my Instagram and ask me pretty much any question about cameras, gear, pretty much anything that you'd like. By the way, if you haven't done it yet, definitely make sure to subscribe because I'm actually going to be giving away a Canon T6 or Nikon D3400 to a subscriber, so hit that subscribe button to enter. And guys, I've also just created a brand new list, the top 10 best vlogging cameras. Now, I go into a lot of detail explaining which ones would be good for you and why. So if you do want to check out that list, I'll put a link in the description box below under this video and you can take a look. So let's get started with this week's first question. And the first question asks, hey Chris, I want to get started into vlogging. Which camera would you recommend for me? Well, that's a really good question and vlogging is a really fun thing to do. So good luck with that. Now I've got a couple of different cameras here which I've lined up for you from smallest to largest pretty much, which you can get an idea of which ones would be good for you. So if you do want to do sit-down vlogging or just making YouTube videos like I do, I'd probably recommend something like the Canon 70D. Now this has got a really good autofocus system and it's also got some really good video quality. Now if you want something a little bit cheaper, you could go for something like the Canon T6 or 1300D or even the Nikon D3400. Now these will have similar video quality but might not have a few things that you might need, which like an articulating screen or good autofocus. Now, if you do want to have pretty good autofocus and you want a smaller kind of camera, I'd probably recommend something like the Canon G7X. Now, this one here has a very nice articulating screen which goes up like this, so you can actually see yourself when you are going to be doing your vlogging. It's also got good sound without the need for an external mic, and it's very popular, probably one of the most popular vlogging cameras you can get. Now, if you want to go for the Sony route, you can look for the Sony RX100, which is also a really popular camera. But another camera that you could use is something like this. This is the new GoPro Hero 5 Black. This one here is a little bit more expensive. It's around about $500. And this camera here is pretty much, you can turn it on and shoot. Now, you're not really gonna have to worry about anything like autofocus because it's got really quite a wide angle. And this one here could be really good, especially if you're just getting new. But probably for vlogging, I would recommend the G7X, especially if you want to take it out on the road. But if you want to do sit-down vlogs like I do, probably the Canon 70D. Next up, we've got a question saying, what's the best way to get good camera gear without breaking the bank? Is eBay a good option? Well, yeah, I think eBay can be a good option. I do use it quite a lot. You just need to be a little bit careful that the seller does have a good feedback rating and also using things like PayPal for a bit more buyer protection. You can also find some pretty good deals on places like Craigslist and Gumtree. But if you guys would like me to make a full video on the best way to get cheap gear, let me know by leaving a thumbs up on this video. So the next question says, do you think Canon would ever come out with a T7 line? Well, I guess you're referring to a successor of the Canon T6, and I'm pretty much 100% sure, in fact, that they will come out with a successor, probably in about a year or so, maybe a little bit less. It's one of Canon's most popular cameras, their budget cameras, and they're a really good camera, so yeah, I would definitely bet on that. I wouldn't not buy the T6 for that reason. I wouldn't actually be waiting right now, but definitely sure that the T7 will be coming out soon. So the next question says, hey, I want to record myself shooting some soccer balls and also scoring goals. What would be a perfect setup for that? Cameras, lenses, etc. Well, there are a couple of different options that you could have. Now, firstly, you'll want to be thinking, are you going to be shooting this yourself or will you be having someone who can help you? Now, if you are going to be shooting it yourself, you probably want it to be as basic as possible. You could look for something like the GoPro. This one here can also record in slow motion, so you're going to be able to get some pretty cool slow motion shots. But if you were to use, say, a DSLR, I'd probably look at something like the Canon T6i or even the Canon 70D, and then something like the 18 to 135mm STM lens, because that's got a really good autofocus system. So even if you are just going to be shooting yourself, it's going to be quite easy for you to get that in focus and get those great shots. So next up, I've got a question saying, I'm thinking about upgrading my Canon 1200D to the Nikon D3300 for video, just because the 1080p and 60 frames per second. Would you recommend this camera? Well, yeah, I would recommend the Nikon D3300. It's a great camera, but I probably wouldn't recommend upgrading just for that 1080p 60 frames per second, unless you specifically want to do some slow motion 60 frames per second, because you can still record in 60 frames per second, 720p mode in with the 1200D. But for me, going through the hassle of actually selling your other camera and buying the Nikon D3300 probably isn't worth it, and you're probably better off keeping your 1200D. So next I've got a question saying, does the Canon 80D autofocus during video? Absolutely it does, and it's probably one of the best features of the Canon 80D. Now, it's got a feature called dual pixel autofocus, and essentially this allows you to stay in focus all the time without even having to touch the lens. Now, I'm using the Canon 70D right here, and you can see that I'm able to stay in focus really well. And this has also got that dual pixel system. So yes, it does autofocus and it does it really well. So that was another Instagram Q&A. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Now definitely make sure to subscribe if you haven't done it yet to go into the draw to win a Canon T6 or a Nikon D3400. And also definitely make sure to check out my brand new list, that top vlogging cameras list. That link will be in the description box below under this video. You can take a look. Hope you have a fantastic day. I'll see you next time. Bye.